To this now, Captain Bonginkosi Mtshali is being cross-examined by Advocate Charles Mnisi for accused number 3 in the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial at the High Court in Pretoria. Earlier this morning, cross-examination began with Sipho Ramosepele for accused 1 and 2. Yesterday, he testified that a gun allegedly found in possession of accused number 3 was meant to be destroyed. An instruction was given in 2017 but was delayed due to the process. Meyiwa was shot and killed in 2014 while at Kelly Khumalo's mother's house in Vosloorus, east of Johannesburg. 5 men are on trial at the High Court in Pretoria for the murder of the soccer star. Mtshali was a unit commander in Cleveland in Johannesburg, and he was responsible for guarding exhibits so they don't get lost or be tampered with. This is where the firearm that was found in possession of accused number 3, Mtobisi Mncube, when police were investigating a different case in 2015 was stored. All right, now let's get an update on what transpired in court today. We cross to SABC News reporter Sipho Kekana. Sipho, thank you so much for your time. So Captain Mtshali was re-examined by the state right after being cross-examined by Advocate Mshololo. Just give us a highlight of his testimony and just a wrap of today's proceedings.
Good afternoon, Unati. So I think the highlight is the fact that that firearm that was investigated and possibly linked to the Meyiwa Murder Trial could have been exchanged while it was stored at the Cleveland Police Station's exhibit store. And that was the assertion by the defense during cross-examination of Captain Bonginkosi Mtshali at the Pretoria High Court this afternoon. So, just for context, Unati, this about this gun, accused number 3 was arrested in 2015, and what then happened is that when he was arrested, a gun was found in his room, as well as ammunition. This gun was for a case which related to taxi violence in Alexandra. He was then convicted for that crime, and so now it was stored. It was the first time it was taken out of that exhibit store in Cleveland was on the 10th of February 2015 for ballistics, and it was returned on the 25th of the very same month. So now for 5 years, it was sitting in that exhibit room until it was then booked out by Colonel Christian Mangena on the 20th of July 2020. However, and this is where the defense now based their case, he made a statement, and this is Christian Mangena, that when he took out that exhibit on the 20th of July 2020, 5 years after it had been there, he says he found it in an open exhibit bag. So, meaning it was not sealed according to what Mangena's statement as it was read out in court. So the defense has now used that to say there was then the likelihood that the gun could have been exchanged during this 5-year term, that it was therefore in an open exhibit bag. But the witness obviously said he had no comment on that. He has also insisted that as far as he understood, the bag was sealed when it was handed to Mangena. He says Mangena must perhaps be called to court to come and testify on that, to explain what he meant by the fact that the bag was opened. The defense kept hammering on that to say that there was that possibility that that gun could have been exchanged, that the gun that was investigated and possibly linked to the Senzo Meyiwa murder may not be the very same gun that was found in accused number 3's room. And that is going to be very key. We are expecting, Unati, that at some stage, Colonel Mangena is going to arrive in court and is going to give testimony. There were a couple of issues. The witness today considered that there might have been discrepancies on how this gun was handled. He has also considered that he works with a lot of similar guns that come in and go out of that exhibit store. he also considered, Unathi, that guns do get lost at some point. He says the gun was eventually released to Brigadier Gininda, who is the investigating officer on this case relating to Senzo Meyiwa's murder. And he says he released that gun because guns do get lost, and it had to be with perhaps somebody who was going to keep it safely throughout the investigations. Now, there was the issue during cross-examination by Advocate Mshololo of 2 guns. And this is coming out of the fact that Masondo previously told the court that although a serial number had been filed of this particular gun that was found in accused 3's room, an etching process was then carried out on this gun, and the serial number was established. However, what Mtshali has told the court was that the gun that he is talking about, the serial number on that gun was never established. So Mshololo used that to say that, can you now see that we are actually talking about 2 different guns here? There is a gun that Masondo is talking about whose serial number was established, and there's a gun that you are talking about whose serial number was never established. And apparently, Unathi, also according to the law, if a serial number has now been established, that gun is then taken back to the rightful owner. In this case, it was found that it belonged to a security company in Centurion. However, this particular gun that Mtshali is testifying on or testified on in court, he says it was ordered for destruction. And one of the reasons it was ordered for destruction was because the serial number could not be established. So that was the key thing that came out of his cross-examination today, to say, whose gun are we talking about here? How do you then link this particular gun to accused number 3? So that conversation is expected to continue when Mangena at some stage, probably next week, he comes to court to give evidence. Unathi.
Sipho, thank you so much for that update. Sipho Kekana there, just giving us an update on what transpired at the Senzo Meyiwa Murder Trial.